Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
The 12 tribes of Israel in 721 BC. He took us down, we fell. With a great escape, we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel, that's who we be. We be Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Naphtali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Simeon, the Dominicans, our highest gathering Israel.
The Arabs and Africans told us
At gunpoint,
together our wives and children sold us.
in the belly of these great ships we traveled in fear. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. Our higher gather us. Whoa. Our highest gathering Israel. Oh. He's gathering Israel, people. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Asher in Colombia, Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans, that's who we be. We be the Negroes, the West Indians, Haitians, oh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Naphtali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Yeah. Simeon, the Dominicans, our highest gathering Israel. That's right, our highest gathering Israel. How you doing, my brothers and sisters? Of course, I'm Elder Rick Harshaw, the Gathering of Christ Church, here with our weekly broadcast. Yes, and of course, the Most High is gathering Israel. All praises be to the Most High. Hey, we have a serious broadcast for you this evening. What we're going to do in the future, and you can look forward to this, Sister Shirley helped us out with Sofa Talk, which we're going to do for about an hour every Thursday very soon. I was just in transition, moving from one place to the next, but soon you will have your weekly broadcast about 2 hours every Wednesday, and then we'll come in 1 hour during the day for Sofa Talk. We're going to be bringing in the deacons and elders from remote areas, our people who have already traveled and spreading the ministry in other countries, and bring them on to find out what's going on in their respective areas, and giving you an insight on how to prepare and what to prepare for, and to show you all what has been prepared, in the midst of this awakening. Okay, when we came out, of course, the Most High said, flee Babylon, and we went all throughout the earth, setting up refuge, knowing that this time would come. And it's about time you get to know what came from all the work. okay, outside of YouTube videos. And you will see that with the gathering of Christ Church. All praises be to the Most High, higher in the name of Yeshua. We're going to have our elders, deacons, all the brothers. Man, we have some strong brothers and sisters in this work that will be introduced to the world to let you know that this is a gathering. This is a movement the Most High is doing, and he's using this church. And even though I'm the person out in front, I'm teaching, hey, we're part of a body. Okay, Christ is the head. And guess what? You're going to get to know a lot of great people who are behind the scenes. There's no way this could be done without the help of many. And they're going to be introduced to y'all very soon. Also, all praises be to the Most High. Before I came on, and of course, hit that like button. Okay, hit that like button as you come in, please, and that'll drive traffic here. Hey, we just got. I just read an email. Spoke to Elder Lawyer, and all praises be to the Most High. CBS Radio reached out to our church and want to do an interview. Okay. Ironically, coincidentally, it's on a Sunday during the time of the academy. So what I'm going to do is we're going to have a caveat for our academy members. Not this Sunday, but next Sunday. The way we're going to set it up is we're going to do our regular broadcast or our regular class. Hebrew with Elder Lawyer, Shapad and I with the news, and subsequent to that, of course, we deal with our class. But we're going to try to wrap that up around 1:30, 2 o'clock. And have a live international interview with CBS Radio while we're in the academy. Right after the academy, we're going to jump right in with the interview. They reached out, CBS Radio. They want to know what the awakening is. And we're going to give them the other side of what the truth. Okay. We're not going to actually have to talk about anyone else and other people. We're going to bring forth the understanding of what the Most High would like the world to know in these last days concerning the awakening. Okay, and we're going to drop that not this Sunday, but the following Sunday in the academy. I'm going to try to link it in where right after the broadcast, we're going to call into the radio show or whichever way they like to do it through Skype, visual, whatever the case is. And the people in the academy will actually see the live broadcast before we actually upload it on our channel. So we got to coordinate it, but I'm hoping that it goes through without any flaws or any issues. And we're going to have our production team work to make sure it's flawless, professional, and the world hear the truth concerning God's people awakening throughout the four corners of the earth. And of course, they're going to try to bait us into a few things, and they're going to try to make it go into the controversial points of racism as far as claiming that Israelites are all racist and hate other people and all these things. But you know what? We're ready. We're prepared for it. Okay, the whole thing is, listen, unless you're going to tell me, a matter of fact, I'll ask whoever the interviewer is out there, I'll ask them, okay, what religion do you follow or what race do you belong to? All right. So, okay, if you're Catholic, just because you have Catholics doing things like pedophilia, should I blame you for everything Catholics are doing? So let's keep this on code. Let's keep this on point. There's a reason you called us to be interviewed, knowing that there's no provocative hatred or anything but truth with the gathering of Christ Church. Let's talk. You want to know what's going down in the earth? I'm going to tell you. You want to know what's happening with our people with this awakening and the fact that you're doing everything to try to censor us from actually bringing forth the truth, but it can't be stopped. Without mainstream media, without anything, the Most High has awakened his people throughout the four corners of the earth, and your time is up according to God. I have no problem with you. You better get right with the Most High God. He has a problem with you. And see, and that's where we want to take it. We're going to take it to the next level outside of this personal thing between one race against the other. No. Your problem is with God and the God you serve. Okay? So you can try to censor us, try to make it seem like all Israelites hate people and try to make sure we're not on certain broadcasts and all that. You can do that, but the Most High will nonetheless, continue the awakening of his people, regardless of how you try to spin this awakening. So you know what? In a few weeks, live CBS Radio, if it be the Most High's will. Now, and that's a great segue into this particular broadcast. All right. Matter of fact, let me bring in Elder Lawyer one moment. Let me bring in Elder Lawyer. See where Elder Lawyer is. 1 second here. Lawman. Okay, yeah, I see. There he is. Okay, let me bring him in. One moment. Okay, Elder Lawyer, you with me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Oh, loud and clear. You're coming through fine. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. I'm good. Yourself?
I'm blessed by the best, and his name is Ahia. Now, I'm jumping right in now that Elder Lawyer is with me. This is a great segue into our broadcast this evening. You would never guess what the title is. You see it in front of you. That's right. That's right. The 48 Laws of Power. We're going to discuss that tonight. The 48 Laws of Power. Why? Most of you out there have heard of the Willie Lynch syndrome. And usually when things are going on when it comes to self-hatred, the majority of our people say, well, it's not our fault. We are subjugated, or we are a product of Willie Lynch. That's why we're going against each other. Now, to some degree, it's true. But if you know that you are a product of institutional servitude, why perpetuate the behavior if you understand that it was perpetrated on you or pushed on your foreparents? Why use that as an excuse and say, well, because of Willie Lynch, the white man is why we go at each other, and the man don't like the woman and the woman don't like a man. We learned this in slavery. Well, if you learned it and know it's wrong, why are we continually perpetuating it? But I digress, right? It's an excuse. Most of us look at this thing called the Willie Lynch and say this, that, and the other. Or you have a lot of other things out there. The Willie Lynch syndrome. You have the art of war. All these psychological themes to actually what they would call get the most out of society or get the most out of your life by doing what? By accomplishing power over other people. The Willie Lynch syndrome, we know that was because even the slave masters got together and say, okay, we're not going to be able to keep slaves the same way with them multiplying. Eventually there'll be a mutiny. How can we bring a psychological slavery in to replace the more abrasive, abusive slavery? You know, a dead slave is a dead slave. We can't make money off of that. So we need to make a way of systematically dividing them and have them work without realizing they're servants, they're slaves. The Willie Lynch syndrome, right? Everyone and their mother want to talk about Willie Lynch, and no one want to talk about the 48 Laws of Power, which is not equally, but it's greatly damning in itself. I'm gonna tell you, the 48 Laws of Power, okay, would make, if we were using examples, would make Willie Lynch, the Willie Lynch syndrome, look like Little Bo Peep. Okay? The 48 Laws of Power, I want to talk about this tonight because most of you don't even know about it. Some of you don't. But the majority of us, believe it or not, have been, believe it or not, folks, have been in connection with someone who have probably used it against us. Every individual have probably ran into someone who would use these laws to control or destroy those under their pyramid. And I'm going to explain that down the line, what that means. 48 laws of power. You can call in 515-605-9327. Folks, the majority of people of influence, of black people, swear by these laws. They swear by the 48 laws of power. And if you haven't heard of this before, hold on to your seat, get a pen and pad. We're going to dive in. You've been influenced by someone who have perpetrated the 48 laws of power on you, some way, form, or fashion. Okay? Now, let's break it down. The 48 laws of power. Has this become the con man's Bible? Have the 48 laws of power become the con man's Bible? One thing that all of these so-called followers of these laws have in common, these people are at odds with the laws that are written in the King James Version Bible. They rather follow the 48 laws of power. We're going to go into what they are. I have them in front of me. Then to follow the laws of the Bible. A matter of fact, those that follow the codes of the 48 laws of power would normally try to dismiss or discredit the Bible altogether. Why? Because the laws in the Bible can have you recognize those that are trying to utilize that particular power. I'm going to go over it. Here's a question for those, and you can call in 515-605-9327. Right? The 48 laws of power, has this become the con man's Bible? They don't follow the real Bible, but they use this as their Bible. To do what? I'll show you in a moment. Is there a connection between the 48 laws of power and the corruption we see in the world around us, especially those within the black and poor communities? From the CEOs of Fortune 500 businesses to the hustlers of the conscious community. Hey, even in the hip hop industry, everyone seems to swear by these principles documented in the 48 laws of power. Now, it's deep that they follow these laws because there's a man who've actually scribed and made a book and have taught many billionaires, who's the mind behind the 48 laws of power. So if they think they're powerful, I'm talking about those who swear by the 48 laws of power. How powerful is this one guy they're all following and listening and learning from? Who is he? You're going to find out that this particular person is the Moses for con men. He's the Moses for those who are destroying the very fibers of our community. See? You know we're going in tonight. From the CEOs of Fortune 500 businesses to the hustlers in the conscious community, everyone swears by these so-called principles documented in the 48 laws of power. What is the origin of these principles, and how are they being used by businessmen, hustlers, pimps alike to control, pillage, and destroy the vulnerable in this earth. They target the vulnerable and the weak. All those that Christ said he came to save, the fatherless, the weak, the feeble-hearted, the brokenhearted. Well, they have a law, a Bible to exploit, pillage, and destroy the same people Christ came to save. Check that out. Come on in, hit that like button. Hit that like button. Now, speaking of the 48 laws of power, right? I need y'all to check this out real quick. I'm going to take your picture down for a lawyer. You can come in a second. I need y'all to check this out. Now, I'm not bringing up any accusation against 50 Cent or anyone else. Let's make that clear. I'm putting that out there right now. I'm just showing you some of the powerful people who are influenced by these particular laws of life. We have 50 Cent in front of you. Obviously, I can't play it in its entirety without it actually becoming a copyright strike. But he was on Sirius XM of years ago, and it was asked some questions. Who was the most influential person in your life? Is it Christ? Right? I'm thinking, is it Christ? It must be God. It must be your mother. Right? Listen to what 50 Cent says.
Of all your different endeavors, including music and movies, who is the one person that you have met that has offered you the best advice, whether it be in your career or life in general?
Well, I'll be honest, the gave me the best advice was Robert. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. Robert Greene. He wrote the 48 Laws of Power.
Robert Greene.
And he wrote 48 Laws of Power. He wrote 33 Strategies of War and the Art of Seduction. And we worked together on the 50th law. But before we got to do that...
Hold up. You have to listen to this because he's speaking pretty quick. He also wrote, he said, this particular Robert Greene wrote The Art of Seduction. Listen.
Of all your different endeavors, including music and movies, who is the one person that you have met that has offered you the best advice, whether it be in your career or life in general?
Well, I'll be honest, the gave me the best advice was Robert. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. Robert Greene. He wrote the 48 Laws of Power. And he wrote 48 Laws of Power. He wrote 33 Strategies of War and the Art of Seduction. And we worked together on the 50th law. But before we got to do that, we talked about just like I was explaining to him the things that he was saying. The short of it actually was something that someone would relate to in the environment that I was from. But the long form was a bit complex for him.
He said some people will be able to relate in the environment where he's from. That's what he said. Right? So the best advice he received was from Robert Greene, who was able to help him maneuver with some of the information he had in the environment he's from. The environment is the streets, drug, killing, whatever the case is, the place we're from. Right? I need y'all to check something out. I'm going to bring him back in a second. But here's Robert Greene in front of you. Does that look like anyone who can relate to where we're from? Pause. For those on Blog Talk, what we're looking at here, for those on Blog Talk Radio who can't see this on YouTube, we're looking at a Jewish white guy who would look like the equivalent of a sparring partner for Pee Wee Herman. He would have been considered a nerd, someone that 50 Cent would have never hung out with. Right? So, what is the correlation here? This guy is powerful, right? Let's hold tight. Let's finish listening.
That someone would relate to in the environment that I was from, but the long form was a bit complex for them. Like they'll read the back of the book, they're not gonna read the book. And he said to me, well, you know, everyone is not actually gonna be prepared to take the time to actually utilize the information that's given to them. Like if you pay attention and you actually keep whatever information is coming in front of you, that you choose what's valuable. But the things that you do hear that are valuable, if you make it your business to keep it, even if you have to write it down, so you have to say it to yourself or whatever, and you just keep, the person says something and you go, what did you just say? Hold on a second, put it on my phone. And hold on to it until it becomes a part of you in the way you actually would express yourself at different points. And then you develop a more advanced presentation, and I got that from Robert.
That's dope. It's a great question, too. I mean, now that you asked me, but it's 50 Cent that gave me my best piece of advice. When he said, if I can't do it, it can't be done. I always held that with me.
Get rich, die trying, all those things, those different concepts. Street strategy. No, that didn't come from a black man. That came from, ironically, a white Jew, right? Came from white Jew, right? So, the one who gave 50 Cent some of the greatest advice to strategize out of his scenario so happened to be a white Jew, right? We're going to talk about him in a moment as far as what his belief system is. I'm speaking of Robert Greene. The Moses to those who follow his 48 laws of power. Now, that's just one person. We have people online who appear to stand for black supremacy, or to stand against what you would call, who stand against, white supremacy, right? Who say that they're for black people and that we need to unite as a people to fight against white supremacy. There's a lot of guys out there not following the Bible, but will rally everyone together against white people. Always bringing up slavery and bringing up history, and it's all good if you mean well. Who am I talking about right now in particular? Right? You have this brother who swears by the 48 laws of power, and every day he speaks against white supremacy. Well, he swears by Robert Greene's principles that enslaves the vulnerable and weak of our people. How can he on one hand say he's against white supremacy, but swears by the 48 laws of power? Not only him. You can go to all the black conscious community platforms and they'll let you know that the 48 laws of power is really the code within their communities. They have all read it and swear by it. Huh? The 48 laws of power. How you see, but you know the people. I'm gonna tell you the people who are too blind to see what's going on. The weak and vulnerable, these people out there prey upon. They know the majority of people are not going to go and study what are the 48 laws of power and the man behind it. You'll attack the Bible publicly and big up all these Masons as those who are controlled by the elite powers. You will big them up while attacking the Bible. And then you will sideways act like you're down with us. I'm down with the black man. I'm not down with white supremacy. But then you learn a code to destroy the vulnerable by the same white man you claim is exploiting and destroying our people. We're going to talk tonight. We're going to talk tonight, folks, because you wouldn't believe how many people been rolled out in front of us that you think are of us. But really using our color as a Trojan horse to come in and destroy us inwardly. I've heard Charlemagne the God talk about the 48 laws of power. All these people talk about the 48 laws of power. But they have never used the 48 laws of power to take down the people they're complaining about. They only use the 48 laws of power against us. You got all this power and know all the rules, but yet you're complaining about what the other nations are doing, but yet you're not using that power against them. You're using it only within the parameters of an already destroyed and destitute community. You're only getting the privilege to use that power if it's against your own people. Now they're 48, so I'm going to skim through them in a moment. And we're going to talk about the guy's religion who's behind this particular ideology. And guess what? The Bible warns us against guys like Robert Greene. It was psychologists and Satanists like this who were behind the Willie Lynch plan. At the end of the day, we suffer behind all these particular psychological apparatuses that's supposed to be out there to help an individual. At the end of the day, we suffer. And if you follow these laws of power, you automatically become a servant to the master who did what? Who have shown you the power. That's how it works. The pyramid. You have the all-seeing eye at the top, which is Lucifer. And all under the pyramid is to make serve him. Now, you can be a master under Lucifer, but you must serve Lucifer. But he'll give you the power to exploit those at the bottom base of the pyramid. See? So you have Robert Greene, who's serving a higher master, a dark lord. And through his power, right, even though he's serving the dark forces, he's able to get servants out of us. And it trickles down, and it's a perpetual cycle. This is how they get slaves. They empower one, and then what? You get those who are under you to serve you. And it goes on and on and on and on. But at the end of the day, the whole pyramid serves Satan. That's how it works. I'm going to introduce this and bring out some information on these, because I know a lot of you are asking, these 48 laws of power, I've never heard of this. Usually I've heard of it in passing, but I didn't know it was that deep. Yes, it's used on every level against the vulnerable and weak. It's a playbook on how to exploit the weakest people and the weakest minds on earth, and how to aggrandize yourself off of others. For those who've just come in, the 48 Laws of Power, has this become the con man's Bible? Is there a connection between the 48 Laws of Power and the corruption we see in this world around us? From the CEOs of Fortune 500 businesses to the hustlers in our communities, they all swear by these laws put together by Robert Greene. What is the origin of these principles? Who showed these principles to Robert Greene? And how are they being used by rich and powerful people and hustlers alike to control and pillage the poor, the vulnerable within our communities? It's upon us to let you know these laws exist against you. Okay? It's upon us to let you know these laws exist. These cunning con folk will find the area. They'll usually hit a hot button emotional scenario topic on a person to get to lure you in as bait. Okay? To get your interest. And while luring you in, they're finding out how they're trying to materialize ways to get you to serve them. Okay, I'm going to talk about this in a second. Elder Lawyer, before I go in and introduce this Robert Greene that most of us don't even know about and give his background, is there anything you would like to say before I go in, Elder Lawyer?
No, sir, not necessarily. Just outside of the fact, and I think you mentioned this earlier, for a lot of the brothers and sisters who may have never, or may have heard of it in passing, heard of these things in passing, but never really took the time to look into it, you'll be surprised how prevalent these things are used in the business world, in everyday life, by people who you may work with or associate with. You may not know it because they don't openly come out and say that they are advocates or, they are practitioners of the 48 Laws of Power, but nonetheless, the influences and the different traits and the different forms of suggestion and seduction, all of those things are evident in the way that they deal with people, their relationships, and all these different things are affected and influenced by their particular acceptance and practice of these 48 Laws of Power. So, I can't wait to see the presentation and get into it. And I guess on the back end, we can come back with some commentary.
Okay. Thank you, Elder Lawyer. Let's now, this brother here swears by the 48 Laws of Power, but yet he claimed to fight. He's fighting white supremacy. On and on and on and on, folks. And they all have one thing in common. The people that follow these laws can't stand the God of the Bible at all. The Bible is like a cross to vampires to them. Okay? But they swear not by the laws of God, but by the 48 Laws of Power. Now, let's introduce to you Robert Greene, if we will. I put him up on the screen earlier. That's him there, Robert Greene. He's the guy that's giving advice on how to stay to the rich and famous, on how to stay on top. They go to him for counsel, insight, information. This white guy here, right? And I'm sure his information is helpful for those who are willing to compromise their spirit and compromise their morality. Let's go over it here. Right? I'm going to show you how we're going to tie this all in. Hold tight. One moment. Let's talk about it here. This article by the Telegraph reads, "Why Robert Greene Isn't Who You Think." Robert Greene's infamous rule book advocating ruthless cunning in the workplace is revered by rappers, movie moguls alike. So why is he the modern day Machiavelli? How is the modern day Machiavelli such a pussycat himself? He's innocent. See how they portray it? See, folks, what you're looking at is the real thug. Okay? This is the guy thugs go to for advice. You notice he don't have a fitted cap. His pants ain't hanging off his behind. Okay? His shoes probably cost about 15, 20 bucks at a thrift shop. This is what a real thug looks like, folks. That's a thug, what we're looking at. This is who the thugs go to sit at his stoop as a disciple of him. You notice the news will portray all of the stars, our people who go to him as advice, as thugs, killers, all that. And they'll glorify all of that and sensationalize it within our communities. But look what they say about him. His infamous rule book advocating ruthless cunning in the workplace is revered by rappers and movie moguls alike. So why is the modern day Machiavelli such a pussycat himself? One would be forgiven for thinking that Robert Greene, author of the 48 Laws of Power, the international bestseller on how to shin up the greasy pole, must be an arrogant megalomaniac living behind security gates in one of Los Angeles' smartest neighborhoods. So I'm surprised to be greeted by the affable, bespectacled man wearing slightly crumpled clothes at the door of his Spanish-style bungalow off a busy street in Los Angeles, Feliz, a bohemian area on LA's west side. Bohemian area. Everyone assumes he practices all. I practice all of my own laws, but I don't. See what he's doing? He is practicing a law. Because why? The greatest trick that Satan ever played on mankind was making you believe he didn't exist. And I'm just using that metaphorically. He's like, you would think that I use these practices, but I don't. I'm just mild-mannered. I wouldn't hurt a fly. Right? He says, everyone assumes I practice all my own laws, but I don't. I think anybody who did would be a horrible, ugly person to be around. And then he laughs. Green laughs. He says, I don't practice these things because if you practice the 48 laws of power, that would be an ugly person to be around. But all of our people who are rich, the hip hop artists, in the conscious community and all that, they swear by this. So what is he saying? Those that follow this and get my advice, they're horrible and ugly people. Then he started laughing, Green did, who has just written a new book called Mastery, to show you that, yes, You have to realize, folks, those that run the synagogues, they're really the authority over Freemasonry. You can have the Spanish Rite, the York Rites of Masons. You can have the Prince Hall, which a lot of our black people become initiates of and go up into degrees in Masonry. But all of them are at the behest of the rabbis, folks. When I put up that pyramid, you have to understand how high those that run the synagogue is on that pyramid. But I digress. They are higher than so-called Freemasons, those that run the synagogues. And we're going to have a Freemasonry program one day, breaking down the code of Freemasonry and what's really going on with it, as far as the understanding that also lies within these 48 laws of power. But we're going to keep it here on Robert Greene. He states, it says, he laughs, and Greene has just written a new book called Mastery, a sort of self-help book on how to fulfill your own intrinsic potential. You know, everyone's going to get that. I would stick with the Bible if I were you. Key is identifying one's life passion, then understanding an apprenticeship and finding a mentor to guide you. Yeah, like Christ. They're not going to follow him, huh? It says, Greene uses historical masters such as Charles Darwin, Satanist, occultist, that's who he was, and Mozart as examples. All these people practice the dark arts and use witchcraft and high hallucinogens, whom he revered, as well as modern ones like the architect Santiago Calatrava. Although inspiring overall, some spectacles are discouraging the level of dedication Greene advocates. Right? Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to put it to the side. Thank you. Right? Now, but we're going to go over the 48 laws of power in a second, folks. A lot of you didn't know this exists. And you know why I went and studied and looked into this, folks? The reason why I went and studied on this guy, Robert Greene, I've been hearing his name all over the place as if he's some type of Messiah. All the influential people our people look up to and respect. Jay-Z, all of them. A lot of basketball players, those in business, you name it. Those moguls are at the doorstep of this guy, Robert Greene. This guy, Robert Greene, is a sage on a high level, folks. And in order for us to break the spell, brothers and sisters, we have to get out of the spirit of idolizing people. I don't want to digress into a different topic, but we have to get out of the spirit of idolizing someone beyond measure. Just because they have money, just because they're rich, or they may have influence or talent that you respect. We must be very careful because Satan worked through idols. He worked through idols. They've made people idols. And these idols gain power by Zen masters, wizards, sorcerers. I'm going to tell you, folks. And if I didn't let you know these things, because they're not going to tell you, they'll mention it. Yeah, I got good advice by Robert Greene, knowing that not one black person or poor person in the neighborhoods understand who this guy is. We have to warn you. I'm going to hit you with it, folks. A lot of pastors out there will follow more laws within the 48 laws of power than the laws written within the Bible. You'll be surprised. A lot of prosperity pastors studied the 48 laws of power, folks. 515-605-9327. Someone just text me. I know it is. He probably want to come on here if he's on here. Let's see here. It's okay. We're gonna go into it now. Let's go to the next page. Let's find out who Robert Greene is. Let's find out who Robert Greene is. A matter of fact, I'm gonna play this for those who've just come in and who might have missed this 50 cents clip while Get Rich and Die Trying was out, while he was getting all these different accolades within the business. And I'm not blaming 50 Cents. Hey, he had to hustle to try to get from out of his environment. Okay? And I'm not making an excuse for him. But, you know, hey, he played the game all the way. And, you know, that's his life. I just hope that the brother would repent, come to Christ, and follow the laws of God. You know, you understand? To try to cover some of the sins that have accumulated from him following the 48 laws of power. But I want to play this real quick again for those who've missed it. Real quick.
Of all your different endeavors, including music and movies, who is the one person that you have met that has offered you the best advice, whether it be in your career or life in general?
Well, I'll be honest, the gave me the best advice was Robert. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. Robert Greene. He wrote the 48 Laws of Power. And he
Who have given 50 Cents the greatest advice he've ever received?
And he I'll be honest, the gave me the best advice was Robert. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. Robert Greene. He wrote the 48 Laws of Power.
The 48 Laws of Power.
And he
So every young artist who's looking to get where 50 Cents has gotten will study what? They'll study what? Not the Bible. They will now look into that 48 Laws of Power because they work against poor people. They work against those who are the most vulnerable. This is how masters stay masters. Follow me here, folks. I don't want to lose you. Stick with me because we're going to go through some of these 48 laws of power. Right? Here he is on your screen. Right? Let's find out who Robert Greene is. Right? Let's find out who he is. Robert Greene is an American author known for his books on strategy, power, and seduction. He has written 6 international bestsellers, such as The 48 Laws of Power, The Art of Seduction, The 33 Strategies of War. The 33 Strategies of War? This guy is high above masonry, folks. Okay. None of us can probably or would like to stand 3 minutes in a room when he's actually getting the advice from the dark side. The 33 strategies of war, the 50th law. It says, and then it says in his Wikipedia, with rapper 50 Cent. With rapper 50 Cent, the 50th law, mastery, the laws of human nature. So in a nutshell, how to use psychology to manipulate the vulnerable and weak or the ignorant. No, don't teach the ignorant. Don't teach them. Use them. See? If you understand their weakness, that's a point of exploitation. Exploit that nature. You're not discovering human nature to help mankind, are you? How to find the weakness in people, this man has mastered. Not how to build them and to protect them and show them and guard them against the masters. Look at him. Look at it. It says here, early life. The younger son of Jewish parents, Green grew up in Los Angeles and attended the University of California. I need to go, and it says right here. Let me jump right to it. Before finishing his degree at the University of Wisconsin-Madison with a BA in classical studies, before becoming an author, Green estimates that he worked 80 jobs, including a construction worker. Let's get straight to it here. Green, it says right here, Green worked as a writer at Fabrica, an art and media school in Italy. And it says Green pitched a book about power to Elfers and wrote a treatment which eventually became the 48 Laws of Power. He would note that this was the turning point of his life. Right? The 48 Laws of Power, published in 1998, is a practical guide to anyone who wants power, observe power, or wants to arm themselves against power. The laws of distillation of 3,000 years in the history of power, drawing of the lives of strategies and historical figures like Niccolo Machiavelli, Sun Tzu, Haile Selassie, Queen Elizabeth. These are all occultists, folks, I'm mentioning right now. Queen Elizabeth, Henry Kissinger, P.T. Barnum. And it says, each law has its own chapter complete with a transgression of the law, observance of the law, or a reversal of that law. The 48 Laws of Power have sold more than 1.2 million copies in its popular, well-known rappers, entrepreneurs, and celebrities, athletes, and actors, including 50 Cent, Jay-Z, Kanye West, Busta Rhymes, Ludacris, DJ Premier, Drake, Dov Charney, Bryant Grazer, Andrew Bynum, Chris Bosh, Michael Jackson, Courtney Love, and Will Smith have all been students or disciples of this one wizard. Now, why do I say wizard? When you go down the line, it tells us in his personal life at the bottom, it says he lives in Los Angeles with his girlfriend, who is a filmmaker. Green can speak 5 languages and is a student of what? Zen Buddhism. See? He studied under the same masteries above Oprah Winfrey. See? He's a student of Zen Buddhism. So when I mentioned that he deal with sorcery and all those things and deal with the dark side, it wasn't an alleged accusation here. He's an admitted Zen Buddhist. Right? He have books, 48 Laws of Power, The Art of Seduction, 33 Strategies of War, The 50th Law, Mastery, The Laws of Human Nature. 9 times out of 10, folks, someone in your neighborhood, on your block, in your community, you've ran into someone who have actually used these laws against you. But guess what? You know what is their kryptonite and what can expose them and shield you from their mastery? The Bible. The Bible. I'm going to go there in a moment. You would think someone who came from the chosen people of God and say that they walked through the Red Sea like Moses would champion the Torah and teach those laws. One would believe they would be teaching the laws written of in the 5 books of Moses, right? The chosen people, why not give them the laws God gave you on Mount Sinai? Huh? So, in a couple of seconds, we're going to come back and we're going to just flash through some of these laws. We're going to go down all 48, and you tell me, should we idolize or revere those who would follow such laws? Have you been a victim of someone executing the 48 laws of power against you? Yes, you have. If you've listened to a person who claimed they're down for black people and they are against white supremacy, but then go on the Breakfast Club and other places and say, well, I've studied, I've read the 48 laws of power. Hold up, I thought you was against white supremacy. The author of the 48 laws of power is a white supremacist. Right? See, we try to cover a broad spectrum of conversations, but why? Because, folks, they've manipulated us on every level. They would rather have us go look back in the 1700s at Willie Lynch that no one can put on trial right now for executing a psychological playbook against us. They would rather us look back at slave ships and all that, not realizing there's laws in place now that exploits and destroy our people. And what's worse above all, the white people aren't the only people using us as servants anymore. It's our own, exploiting and stealing and destroying us. Swearing by these laws. And we're going to expose them tonight. Hold tight. And we're going to run down a few of these 48. Hold tight. We'll be right back.
Are you seeking to strengthen your biblical foundation? Join us in the Hebrew Bible Academy, where we offer 12 weeks of in-depth learning in a structured environment. Receive real-time news from Brother Shapat and amazing lessons by Elder Gocc. Learn ancient Hebrew with Elder Lawyer. With 12 amazing lessons, you're guaranteed to learn more about your true biblical history and authentic Hebrew language than you would in a traditional Christian church for only a one-time payment of $150 or 3 monthly payments of $50. Join us at historytimes.org and sign up today. It's not too late. See you in the academy.
Okay, folks. Okay. All right. See you in the Hebrew and Bible Academy. That's right. All praises be to the Most High. Of course, you all know I'm Elder Gocc, the Gathering of Christ Church here. And we're talking about this evening some of a topic on what most of us have probably knew about, who have studied, as far as studied the word and studied on an academia level. But the majority of our people don't even know about the 48 laws of power. And I wanted to introduce, what Satan have been using, in secret to keep our people oppressed. And I'm going to let you know, folks, It's a diversion just looking at white people saying the white man, the white man, white man. They no longer have to execute, a hard bondage on us anymore. They have taskmasters, the same as Egypt. The Egyptians were using our people as taskmasters. You have to understand how this thing works. Okay? You have to understand how this works, folks. They have gatekeepers. They have taskmasters who are doing, exponentially more than what they could do in our neighborhoods. Think about it. They're using our own people, folks. I'm talking about white supremacy, white supremacy. No. It's about us fixing ourselves, coming together so that if we are united under one law, we can now point out what's wrong amongst us and point to those who are destroying us from the outside together. That's how it works. Okay, who's more dangerous? Robert Greene or the people he's teaching against us? Who's more dangerous? Think about it. Because if Robert Greene came in our neighborhood and tried to execute something, you understand? He wouldn't last 3 minutes. But if he can program certain people with the ideologies to destroy us, the people we usually trust, okay, these are the people who can destroy us inwardly. And that's why the Christ was pointing out those that were amongst us, like the Pharisees, scribes, all those that was in authority and revered by the population in our communities. Okay, he was pointing them out. The Roman Empire, the so-called white man, Pontius Pilate, looked at Christ and said, listen, I don't see no fault in this man. I don't see no fault in Christ. Christ was a black man. Pontius Pilate was a white man. He says, listen, I don't see no fault in this man. But our people said, listen, string him up. Give us Barabbas. Okay? And I'm just making a point. Okay? And make it clear, I'm not making no excuse for Robert Greene. Robert Greene is Satan's son. But his ideology is being executed by using our people as soldiers against us. By teaching our own people to be soldiers. The infantry to destroy us inwardly of the elite are our own people. I'm about to go through some of these 48 laws of power. But before I do, I'm going to take about 2 phone calls. 515-605-9327. If you want to call in, chime in. 515-605-9327. 704 area code. I seen you holding on. You're live with the Gathering of Christ Church. How can I help you?
Shalom and blessings. How you doing, Elder?
I'm blessed by the best. Talk to me. You're live on the broadcast.
Oh, praises. I actually got an excerpt from the 48 Laws of Power. It's one thing that I was reading, prior as I was coming in and when I came into the truth. And they actually talk about Caesar Borgia, right? So they understand what's going on, right? And this is the first law. And I got to highlight, I since then threw my book away, but I was able to still find it. So the first law goes into never outshine the master, right? Keys to power. It says, in the year 1500, Caesar Borgia laid siege to Faenza. When the city surrendered, the citizens expected the worst from the cruel Borgia, who, however, decided to spare the time. He simply occupied its fortress. executed 9 of his citizens, and allowed Prince Manfredi, 18 at the time, to remain with his court in complete freedom. A few weeks later, though, soldiers hauled a 4 Manfredi away from to a Roman prison. Later, it says, a year after that, his body was fished out of the river Tiber, a stone tied around his neck. Borgia justified the horrible deed with some sort of trumped up charges of treason and conspiracy. But the real problem was that he was notoriously vain and insecure. The young man was outshining him without even trying. Given Manfredi natural talents and the prince's mere presence made Borgia seem less attractive and charismatic. The lesson is simple. If you can't help being charming and superior, you must learn to avoid such monsters of vanity. Either that or find a way to mute your good qualities with the company of Caesar Borgia. And I just wanted to bring that out.
Thank you, brother. Great points. I appreciate it. I'm going to place you on hold. The brother always bring good points. We have one more call, then I'm going over some of these 48 laws of power that's being used to exploit our people. Because don't claim you're reading the 48 laws of power and haven't insulated that power and joined our people together against the enemy. Okay. What power you really have when the power can only be executed against your own? 678 area code.
Shalom, Elder. How you doing?
Shalom. You're live on the broadcast. Talk to me.
Oh, good. Yeah, just wanted to call in real brief and speak on the topic.
Hold up, brother. Before you say something, I wanted to mention someone seen me drinking from this blue cup and asked, is this joy juice? No, it isn't. It's herbal tea. It's herbal tea. It's herbal tea. Okay. Now, if I had some wine over here, I would tell you. But no, I didn't drink anything. This is herbal tea. Talk about joy juice. These people. Come on.
Unfortunately, we live in a day and age where people just want to find some sort of issue, with someone who is held in high regard because they have their own shortcomings. So they're like, well, it can't be possible that this man is, so righteous. So, people reach. But anyhow, speaking on the 48 laws, though, Elder, me being a person in the past who's really, I've read the 48 laws, How to Think and Grow Rich, a lot of these quote unquote self-help books, and come to realize that there are elements, many of them, that can be utilized where it can make you, quote unquote, successful in this world, financial gain, whatever the case may be. Okay. But here's the interesting thing, and I'll wrap it up. What's very interesting about the 48 laws and all of these other self-help books and the art of war and these different things is these particular laws can only work in a chaotic and fallen world. I think that's just very interesting. And as you go through the list of the 48 laws, I think the listeners will be able to view that and understand that you can only utilize laws like that in a fallen, satanic world. In the kingdom, in the kingdom of God, these laws would not be applicable and they would not work. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
You know what, brother? That is a good point. You know why they wouldn't work? Because it tells us when Christ returns, he'll deal with the enemy first. And it says, those are my enemies that will not serve me. Bring them hither and slay them before me. There's only going to be one power. Right. There's only going to be one power on earth. The power of the Most High God through his Son. And the power he gives, to the 12 disciples and the 144,000 to rule the earth for 1,000 years in righteousness. Okay? That's the only power. Thank you, brother. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I have a few more calls. If you want to come in, the brother always brings some great points also. And of course, he's in the business out there, so he understands what's being read. And guess what? There are a lot of what you would call interesting information on how to stay on top within the 48 laws of power. Right? But you cannot follow these 48 laws without compromising your spirit, your soul. You can't do it. And guess what? Even Christ says that no one can serve two masters. Even you hold the one or love the other. You can't care for people and follow the 48 laws of power, because your power has actually been accumulated by taking the souls and killing and destroying others. It's like you must destroy someone and weaken them and take their power to become powerful. It's evil. It's wicked. So it's one thing if you work hard and the Most High bless you because you were a hard worker and you received everything accumulated through hard work and righteousness. That's one thing. It's another thing if you've gained your power off of the blood of others. Let's go through these 48 laws. I know I have a lot of people on. I'm going to bring you on. I'm going to make this more interactive today. I'm even going to read some of the chats out there. But don't accuse me of drinking joy juice. I'm not drinking anything right now, right? I'm good. But anyway, the 48 laws of power. Has this become the con man's Bible is the question. Right? I've already given you the bio on the Moses of the 48 laws of power. The majority of people that follow these laws hate the laws contained in the Bible. You would follow 48 wicked laws, but you'll deny the 10 commandments. Shouldn't it be easier to follow 10 opposed to 48? From CEOs and Fortune 500 businessmen to the hustlers of the conscious community, everyone seems to swear by these so-called principles written within that document, that satanic document or book called the 48 Laws of Power. What is the origin of these principles, and how are they being used by businessmen and hustlers alike to control and pillage and destroy our people and the vulnerable on earth? Above all, how can you make it where you can protect yourself and your family against those who believe in those 48 laws? And that's what I want to do at the very end. Say, listen, you're not going to stop the devil and his disciples from being devils. But what we can do is understand what people are practicing and avoid them. If anyone outwardly they follow the 48 laws of power, that should be a key or a clue to anyone with common sense to know to run from that person. Okay. Now, let's go over the 48. Let's do it. All right. One moment. Yeah, here we are. Okay, there they go, right there. Get on this side. Okay, let's go over a few. The 48 Laws of Power summary. Number 1, never outshine the master. Never outshine the masters. Always make those above you feel comfortably superior in your desire to please or impress them. Do not go too far in displaying your talents, or you might accomplish the opposite. Inspire fear and insecurity. Make your masters appear more brilliant than they are, and you will retain the heights of power. That means fake it. Okay? That means pander and know in your mind that you're greater than someone, but make them believe they have the upper hand. Right? Wicked. Number 2, I'm not going to read all of the, I'm just going to read the laws. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use your enemies. Number 3, conceal your intentions. Never tell anyone what you intend to do. Wicked. Number 4, always say less than necessary. Now, this particular law right here is actually written of in the Apocrypha, that a man of wisdom has less words in a room. But listen to their spin on always say less than necessary. Robert Greene, the Satanist, he's a Jewish sage, states, when you are trying to impress people with words, the more you say, the more common you appear, and the less in control. Even if you're saying something banal, it would seem original if you make it vague, open-ended, and sphinx-like. Powerful people impress and intimidate by saying less. The more you say, the more likely you are to say something foolish. Now, that last statement he just said comes from the Apocrypha. That you don't know a fool until they open their mouth, and that's actually a statement in the Bible. Right? Now, law number 5. So much depend on reputation. Guard it with your life. Court attention at all cost. Right? That means you must stay in the media or have people, whatever room you go into, whatever, you must court the attention. That means if people not paying you no mind, you must make yourself the center of attention. Boy. Number 7. Check this out. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. Oh my goodness. Get others to do the work for you, but you be like, yeah, I came up with this. That sounds like the record business to me and all other, but I digress. You got a guy by the name of something Steen or Berg as an executive producer behind an album who don't know how, who never played an instrument, don't know how to sing or write anything, but they're the executive producer. Law number 8. Make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. Number 9. Let me skim through these. Win through your actions, never through argument. Number 10. Infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky people. If someone is miserable or someone is unlucky, they're always doing something that something is bad is going to come down on them. You don't want to be loosely associated with losers is what they're showing you here. Right? When Christ came to help people who are dealing with issues. Right? Number 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you. 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. So these are not people you are encountering. These are victims. Now check it out. If you had to be in a room with this particular person, as a matter of fact, he knew you was there and he's in the room so that he can do what? victimize you. Make you look at these stars in an entirely different light, doesn't it? 13. When asking for help, appeal to the people's self-interest, never their mercy or gratitude. 14. Pose as a friend, but work as a spy. Elder Lawyer, I'm going to have to bring you in when I go through this 48 because I know your brain is spinning right now. Pose as a friend. Act like you. Let me tell you. If you're dealing with a person that have wronged you and all that, I never can understand how you can be around a person without dealing with your issues, and you know you don't like that person, and you're looking to actually do something against that person. I don't understand. I've asked people, I've had people who've been around for years who had issues but never said anything, but was trying to make other people feel wrong about scenarios. I'm like, why were you around? I'm like, now I understand. They're under these laws here. They can hate you, but they will stay around to destroy you. But the whole time, act as one of you. They'll act like your friend. I've met many of those folks. People that's supposed to be God-fearing people too. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. Crush your enemy totally. Use absence to increase respect and honor. Keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. Listen to this. Listen to this. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Insulation is dangerous. Know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. And that's in the Apocrypha right there too. That be careful what you do against a rich person who has more power, who has the power to execute their will against you. That's in the Apocrypha. So he has some of these laws that I know he learned from the principles of the Bible or the Torah in his upbringing. But when you put all these 48 laws together, I'm going to tell you, only a madman would give respect to these codes. Number 20, do not commit to anyone. You can't commit to anyone. You are alone, and everyone around you is to be used. Number 21, play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark. Act dumb. 22. Use the, you know what this sounds like? This is deep because what I'm reading here, if anyone have seen that series Power, if you've seen that series Power, this sounds like Ghost. It seems like 50 Cent read those 48 laws of power and made a character utilizing them. Check that out. Do not commit to anyone. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark. Use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power. Concentrate your forces. Play the perfect courtier. Recreate yourself. That means don't stay the same or mundane. 26. Keep your hands clean. That means let others do your dirty work. 27. Play on people's need to create a cult-like following. All right? Okay. It says play on people's need to create a cult-like following. So they'll find the vulnerable and use these as you would call a fan club type of deal. And they'll use these people to do their will in public while their hands stay clean. Play on people's need to create a cult-like following. 28. Enter action with boldness. 29. Plan all the way to the end. Okay. From the time you move your pawn, have checkmate ready. Playing chess. Plan all the way to the end. 30. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. 31. Control the options, get others to play with the cards you deal. 32. Play to people's fantasies. Tell them what they want to hear. That's 32. Law 33. Discover each man's thumb screw. That means every person you're around, you're looking for their weakness. Because automatically, if they can point out one's weakness, it gives them the what? The psychological high ground. Number 34. Be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one. Number 35. Master the art of timing. It says, never seem to be in a hurry. Hurry betrays a lack of control over yourself and over time. Always seem patient, as if you know that everything will come to you eventually. Become a detective at the right moments. Sniff out the spirit of all times. It says, become a detective at the right moment. Sniff out the spirit of the times. The trends that will carry you to power. Learn to stand back when the time is not yet ripe. And to strike fiercely when it has reached fruition. 36. Disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge. Right? So you'll dismiss it because you can't get it. Because you don't want to appear weak as if you're striving for something. Be a fake. This thing they have in the corporate where they say, fake it until you make it. What type of crap is that? Whatever happened to being true? Being honest. 37, create compelling spectacles. 38, think as you like, but behave like others. Think like you want to think, but become a chameleon in the room and act as if you're like everyone else, but yet you're looking for a victim to victimize. That sounds like the conscious community to me. And you know what? The conscious community and all these guys out there conning people, they are against the laws of the Bible, but swear by these laws that were made by a Jewish white Zen master. Not that him being white is an issue, but these are the same people that are telling the people in our community that they are against white supremacy and they stand with us. "39. Stir up waters to catch a fish." Troublemaker. So they create environments to do what? Knowing that eventually they'll be able to get the outcome of destroying someone who will go to a certain environment. Like For instance, you have people who would give a show somewhere. I'm talking about in the entertainment business, in a certain city, knowing who's going to come to the show. Like Tupac, like Biggie. Okay. Someone stirred the waters knowing that they would come to the show. But the fish was caught. See? Law 40. Despise the free lunch. Okay? They don't want to come off at any time as someone who's dependent or need a handout from anyone. Nah, you can't give me nothing. I don't want you to pay for nothing. Nah, because why? They don't want to appear to owe anyone anything. But they already owe someone something. The greatest part of themselves, their soul. Despise the free lunch. 41. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. 42. Strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. 43. Work on the hearts and minds of others. A master manipulator. 44. Disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect. For those who don't know what the mirror effect is, let me read it out. The mirror reflects reality, but it's also a perfect tool for deception. When you mirror your enemies doing exactly as they do, they cannot figure out your strategy. The mirror effect mocks and humiliates them, making them overreact. You're triggering people, right? By holding up a mirror to their psyches, you seduce them with the illusion that they share their values. By holding up a mirror to their actions, you teach them a lesson. Few can resist the power of the mirror effect. This guy's a wizard here. 45. Preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once. 46. Never appear too perfect. 47. Do not pass the mark you aimed for. In victory, learn when to stop. Right? Now, this is a perfect example of understanding that your power can only go but so high. Your power has a ceiling. You cannot go any higher than your master. So if you want to know who the masters are, they're the people giving you the advice with the 48 laws of power. What is that saying? Negro, stay in your place. Okay? I'm not giving you this power to take me. I'm giving you this power to manipulate and to destroy your people. Don't you know that? And the last but not least, law 48, assume formlessness. By taking a shape, by having a visible plan, you open yourself to attack. Instead of taking a form for your enemy to grasp, keep yourself adaptable and on the move. Accept the fact that nothing is certain and no law is fixed. The best way to protect yourself is to be as fluid and formless as water. Never bet on stability or lasting order. Everything changes. Why? Because these hustlers, these con men know eventually the gig is up. So be ready, have an escape hatch. Okay? You must stay on the move. You must stay on the move. Why? Because hey, the gig can be up, and before you blow the gig and everybody figure it out, go over here and start the gig over again. This is what the conscious community and all of them have been using. For those who, I looked up, it's 1,800 people in here. Oh my goodness, 1,800 people. I'm not even looking at the number. The 48 laws of power Has this become the con man's Bible? Have our people been using these laws against us? I have to ask that question. I know we have the elders who want to come in. Text me if the elders out there and you're in queue already, just text me. Right? Let me bring in Elder Lawyer. Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
The floor is yours, young man.
All right. There's a few scriptures I wanted to go over, and you can elaborate on these scriptures as I go through them, Elder Gocc. The first thing that came to mind when going through this this particular literature called the 48 Laws of Power. One of the first things that came to mind was Luke 16:8, where Christ says, "And the Lord commended the unjust steward because he had done wisely. For the children of this world are in their generation wiser than the children of light." And the reason the scripture comes to mind is the fact that, and we've mentioned this before, sometimes when when we're operating in this earth, we're operating in this world, we're just trying to make a living. We're just trying to make it day to day, just trying to survive. We can imagine that there's people out there who are master manipulators, who spend their whole time devising wicked machinations against people, trying to use people, trying to get what they can out of people, so on and so forth. We can't imagine these things. We can't think on this particular level. So the Bible says that the children of this world who do think on that level are in their generation, this is their generation, they are wiser than the children of light. Not in the wisdom of scripture, not in the wisdom of righteousness, in proper understanding, but in the wisdom on how to do evil. Before we get into these scriptures, and again, Elder Gocc, at any point you can come in and elaborate on these precepts. I'm just going to read them through.
Okay, go on.
The first thing that came to mind, another thing that came to mind for those who decide they want to go back and research this, here is a scriptural tip. Ephesians 6:11. Put on the whole armor of God that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. In other words, if you're going to go back and study this record, prepare yourself. Put on the whole armor of the Most High. Because reading this stuff, it's dangerous. Because just reading it, a lot of these things, they sound good, they sound appealing, and they sound like, hey, I can apply that, that may work. But the moment you decide to try to apply these things, you'll find yourself going down that rabbit hole. If one of these things work, hey, let me try another aspect of the 48 Laws of Power. Next thing you know, your life and how you operate will be guided according to this, opposed to the laws of the Most High, opposed to the word of the Most High. So again, for those who are going to go back and study this and eventually share this information with family members, so on and so forth, please prepare yourself, pray that the Most High guide and protect your heart and your mind, that you don't become a victim by trying to actually use and impose these things on other people. All right, a few scriptures here. This is Proverbs chapter 4, verse 13. And this is going to give us the real biblical, the true understanding as to what power is, what real wisdom is, and how to prevent yourself from being manipulated from people who operate with this false sense of wisdom. Okay? This is Proverbs 4:13. Take fast hold of instruction. Let her not go. Keep her, for she is thy life. Speaking about the instruction of the Bible.
Exactly.
It didn't say take hold on the art of war. Take hold on the art of seduction. Take hold on the 48 laws of power, but take hold on the instruction of the Bible, of scripture. Enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not into the way of evil men, as those who follow these particular principles of the 48 laws of power. Avoid it. Pass not by it. Turn from it and pass away. For they sleep not, speaking of the wicked, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away. So they lose sleep thinking about how they can do wickedness and manipulate people.
Exactly.
The machinations and the imaginations they can do against you. They lose sleep over it.
Yeah, Lawyer, I'm gonna tell you, it is deep that you have people who out there who can't sleep unless they have exploited or taken something from our people. And I'm not talking about the white man either. I'm talking about our people.
Mm-hmm.
And before you go a point, Elder Gabar came to me years ago with that when he said, "Well, we need to do this." I've been invited with the Israelites to do this Kemet on trial with the conscious community. What do you think, Elder? I was overseas at this time, and I told him, I'm like, listen, if you want to do this, we can do this, but keep in mind that there's really no unity or upliftment within the conscious community. The only thing they can do is exploit and financially benefit from the awakening of the children of Israel, because it's us coming together that's going to bring the people. Why give it to the conscious community? Those guys don't believe in the Bible. I'm not debating no Egypt with these guys. The knowledge that these guys are bringing forth is useless. The only thing they'll do is use the back and forth and a division to financially take the bag, while the Israelites who brought all the people together gets nothing. And what exactly happened? Till this day, they're still trying to stir the pot to get a debate or another Kemet on trial, which was a 6-figure payday for con men. If you don't believe in the Bible says, listen, I'm not going to be unequally yoked with unbelievers. Okay? I'm not going to have you financially aggrandize yourself. And if you don't believe in our God and don't believe in our Bible, then I don't need a conversation with you. The Bible tells me after the second and third admonition, shake off the dust of my feet. The Bible tells me that you can't cast, that I'm not to cast my pearls before swine, lest I be rent underfoot. Why would I willingly go into an agreement with the serpent? With someone that I know is against me, who can set up a venue to destroy me. See, we have to start drawing the line with our people and saying, listen, you're not getting a dime off of, you think I'm going to have you set up a venue to have people come in and you counting money in the back at the end of it? And none of that money is going towards helping the same people you've been destroying with your atheistic beliefs? No, you're not getting a red cent. They've been trying to stir up. Why no preachers want to come out and debate us? Why no Israelites want to debate us? Because why? Debating them is useless. They can't even come together on what they believe, let alone stand against us. So that's the example I wanted to bring out real quick. And guess what? They've been using the 48 laws of power, even against the learned. How can they become the authority and have a venue and throw something in which we bring the people and they grandize themselves against our God and against our beliefs? We don't need your platform. And another thing, these platforms have brought on, with the 48 laws of power, have brought on all the black men that are stealing from our people throughout the earth under these laws. That polite character, Umar Johnson character, all these guys with so-called documentaries. They all study the 48 laws of power, and our people are nothing more to them but slush funds. We're nothing more to them than victims. So I wanted to point that out, folks. And they all follow the 48 laws of power, but will come against us on those streets sweating or out there in the cold teaching, saying, listen, what's wrong with our people is that we're destroying each other and we're not following God's law. They will attack us for asking our people to be moral one with another and follow the Bible, but yet they're following these garbage 48 laws of power that was put together by a I wanted to put that out there, but go ahead, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Continuing in Proverbs 4:17, it says, "For they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence." So yes, the people who follow these principles, yes, they have substance. They become successful, but through what? Through wickedness and through violence. Okay? It's not because they were just masterminds in the field and they were just, so creative and just so great at what they did. These people, they use manipulation, they use wickedness, they use violence to get where they feel they need to be in life. Verse number 18 says, "But the path of the just is as the shining light, that shineth more unto the perfect day. The way of the wicked is as darkness, they know not at what they stumble." So you notice the Bible says that the way of the just is as a shining light. We don't have to conceal our agenda, what it is we're trying to achieve. We put it forward. As Christ said, "Let your light shine before men." It's the wicked who have to operate in darkness and conceal and try to hide their true agenda. Okay, as he mentioned in the thing, say only as much as needed. Now, of course, that's a biblical principle, but when you go into that biblical principle, that's dealing with speaking in the midst of men who are greater than you, or wise men or aged men. That's more so a thing of respect in the Bible. But we know that this thing that he's bringing forth as far as concealing speech and things of that nature, holding back the tongue, is more so for manipulation. Jumping on here to the book of Sirach 19 and 18, it says, "The fear of the Lord is the first step to be accepted of him, and wisdom obtaineth his love. The knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life. And they that do things that please him shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality." Now that's true power. That's what we all desire, immortality. Exactly. Those who follow the 48 laws of power, no matter how much they follow those laws, they will in no wise obtain the true power of immortality, of everlasting life. The fear of the Lord is all wisdom, and in all wisdom is the performance of the law. What law? The law of the Bible. And the knowledge of his omnipotency. Verse 22 says, "The knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom." So yes, that's knowledge that you find in the art of war, the art of seduction, the 48 laws of power. All of that stuff is knowledge. But what type of knowledge? The knowledge of wickedness. And according to the Bible, it's not wisdom. "Neither at any time the counsel of sinners," which the counsel of Robert Greene is, he's a sinner, and the counsel he brings forth is the counsel of sinners. "Neither at any time is the counsel of sinners prudence." This is the book of Isaiah chapter 47, verse 10. "For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness," those who follow these principles, "thou hast said, none seeth me." They operate in the dark. They operate through concealment. They operate in a way which is fair seeming, okay? But in reality, they're seeking to put a knife in your back, okay? As it says here in the book of Isaiah or Psalms 55 and 20. "He put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. The words of his mouth are smoother, or were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they sword or drawn swords." Few more scriptures here, just two more scriptures. I have a lot more here.
No, come on.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Come on now, come on.
All right, I got a few more scriptures here, but I have to skip over a few for the sake of time. Let's go here to the book of Sirach 19 and 8.
Hold up, lawyer. Before you do that, let me put out the number because we only got 31 minutes before overtime. So if you don't call in within the 30 minutes, of course, you will not be able to have a point or bring forth your point. And when I do bring those points, when I let you in through the call, please make sure to make your comment or your question short and sweet for the sake of those waiting in the queue. But you got 30 minutes to bring your point or get in the queue. When you get in the queue, press 1, okay? The telephone number, if you'd like to talk about this 48 laws of power that are used against the weak of our people, okay, call this phone number, 515-605-9327. Also, lawyer, before I let you go with the next one, I wanted to announce that we've been contacted to be on a major international CBS radio station. We're going to try to schedule it for not this Sunday, but the next Sunday. And what we're going to do is try to have it within the Hebrew and Bible Academy itself, so that right after the lesson, we're going to try to finish the lesson by 1:30, 2 o'clock. So everyone must be on point that day. We'll parlay the academy to a live discussion on an international CBS radio show who have questions for the Gathering of Christ Church. We're going to do that within the Hebrew and Bible Academy. We're going to try to schedule it where it transitions together so that we can actually find out what they would like to know about this awakening. They contacted us, sent us an email, and you know what? We're responding to do a live broadcast on the CBS International radio station. And if that's the case, it will be live within the academy. So there's a lot. And if y'all don't know this, there's a lot of information be coming out in that academy, folks. A lot. When it comes to the news, what's going on with these storms, we're going to have to start dealing with prepping. Next week, we have a health-specific broadcast here next Wednesday, where we're talking about what's really behind their false diagnosis of diabetes and all that, and what foods they're using to feed the sicknesses, which leads to us, our dependency on this medication, like high blood pressure medicine and all that, that's killing us. We're going to go into that next week. But again, believe it or not, the academy, we're covering a lot of these different areas to protect our people. The same way you expect us, we're Bible teachers, right? But we're talking tonight about the 48 laws of power. We're delving into every area that Satan has been using to destroy our people on every level. Okay? And bring it right around full circle and let you know what the Most High have to say against these evil impositions that not only the white man, but our people has against us. Come on, let's go.
Yes, sir. Now, some people may say, well, okay, I understand that these things are negative. These are deceitful laws. I won't use them against my own people. But what if I use them against my enemies, or the enemies of my people, or any other type of enemy that I may perceive, or anyone I may think of as an enemy? Well, let's see what the Bible says about that. This is Sirach 19:8. It says, whether it be friend or foe, talk not of other men's lives, and if thou canst without offense, reveal them not. So there's a certain level of justice and righteousness that we must operate within, even with the enemy. So we can't, even with the enemy, there's certain levels of manipulation and things of that nature that we cannot use, we cannot deal with, okay, such as slander. Again, it says, whether it be friend or foe, talk not of other men's lives. So you can't even slander or lie against your enemy, or use deceit against your enemy. The book of Matthew chapter 5, verse 43 says, ye have heard that have been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good unto them that hate you, and pray for them that despitefully use you and persecute you. Notice Christ didn't say use the 48 laws of power against them, use manipulation against them, use deceit against them. He said, pray for them that despitefully use you and persecute you, that ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven, for he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and the unjust. Last scripture.
Come on.
Leviticus 19:11. This sums up the way that we must operate amongst each other. Okay? It says, Leviticus 19:11. Ye shall not steal, ye shall not deal falsely, neither lie one to another, and ye shall not swear falsely by my name, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am the Lord. Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him. The wages of him that is hired shall not abide with thee all night until the morning. Thou shalt not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind, but thou shalt fear the Most High. Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty, but in righteousness shalt thou judge thy neighbor. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. Now, keep in mind, these are all tactics that the Bible is saying we shall not do. These are all tactics that you may find prevalent amongst those who uphold the art of war, or the art of seduction, or the 48 laws of power. They relish in these things, but the Bible says you shall not do these things amongst your people. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. Thou shalt not avenge, nor bear grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord.
I'm glad you brought that out. In a nutshell, people might ask, well, what can I do to protect myself? Okay, when it comes to these 48 laws of power. Number one, or others are looking to snare or calculate against my better interests. Well, the first thing one can do is know the Most High God and know His law. Okay, that's first of all. Study that Bible. Look at how Christ walked, and look at His principles. Also, see how He dealt with those that was in the spirit of deceit, like the Pharisees and scribes. Okay, number one, find out what people are about. If someone outright tell me they don't believe in Christ and they don't believe in the Bible, right there, guess what? They cannot give me advice on anything. They can't come and say, I'm for black people. You are a liar. You are against black people. Christ was a black man. The people in the Bible were black. So first of all, the Bible tells us you can't be unequally yoked with believers. I don't want to hear that you talking about, yeah, I'm standing up for Sarah Bland and I'm standing up for the black man and Trayvon Martin. Yeah, we need to stand against white supremacy and the police. Listen, I'm not for nothing you're dealing with. Okay, you're not for our people. Because you would be down with the number one, who died for our people. So don't try to use some hot button topics to rally victims together so that you can choose to exploit from those victims. If a guy or a woman is dealing with witchcraft on any level, there's nothing they can say. There's no advice. There's nothing we can agree on anything. If you're dealing with witchcraft, sorcery, if you are a Muslim, you can't give me no advice on anything. No advice can I take from you because you serve another God. Okay? If you are a Buddhist, I can't take advice from you. But the Bible tells me I can, and guess what? You can't use the color of my skin as a reason to be aligned with you. Because the enemy is using people of our color to destroy us inwardly. The enemy is sending them in to sell drugs, kill our people, to destroy the poor, to exploit us. The enemy is sending them in. Okay? So first of all, folks, find out what people believe out there before immediately giving them some type of level of reverence or respect. Don't support anyone who stands against your God. If you're a Muslim, okay, that's fine. But I can't get no advice from you. You serve another God. Buddhist, I don't want nothing from you. You can't get anything from me either. But repent, for the kingdom is at hand. I can offer you water to be baptized and receive the Holy Spirit. And through that Spirit can pull you from the eventual fire to come and the judgment to come. We have to stop just giving respect to anyone because they're black and can put a few sentences together. I'm looking at this hidden colors thing where people are paying money and raising money for some black people talking about black history. And the majority of the people, they even got a brother who's stealing money from our brothers and sisters all around the earth as a key character that one should follow. Who just stole 70,000 from one guy, 100,000 from another guy, and they got these guys telling some history stories to empower black people. If they're dealing with witchcraft, if they're dealing with nuwabic, if they're atheists, if they're drug dealers, we got to start cutting our people off and not giving them our sources, our financial support. Someone asked, do you mind if I chime in? Okay. Sure, you can chime in, sister, but you would need to. Okay, this is with the Passover. If you're in queue, I can bring you in. 515-605-9327. And I would say this, Israelites, those who know they're Israel, when it comes to those black conscious platforms, don't go on none of them. Don't support anything. Don't give them one view. None of them get 1 cent monetization from you. The same YouTube they got and the same platform they have, you can create. Don't give them nothing. They are against our God, against our people, and have destroyed us inwardly, and have made an agreement with Satan. And don't listen to music from these artists who follow those laws and promote those laws and who are destroying our children. Don't listen to their music. Let's go down the line. And I want to read this real quick because Robert Greene is a wizard. He's a sorcerer. He's a gatekeeper. He's higher than a so-called Prince Hall Mason. Okay? The Bible tells us that the power, Satan's dark power that actually empowers men like Robert Greene who have sold his soul, that their power will fall, and it is falling. Let me read this. In Isaiah 47. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstone and grind mill, uncover the locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. It's talking about that Lady Liberty in the harbor that's on an island by herself. It's saying, listen, the Bible is telling us that she's coming down off of her lofty throne. The third verse, 47:3. Thy nakedness shall be covered, and thy shame shall be seen, and I will take vengeance, saith God, and I will not meet thee as a man. As for our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel. His name is Ahiah. Sit thou silent and get thee in the darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans. The Chaldeans were the high sorcerers and warlocks in ancient Babylon, like your Robert Greene. For thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. I was wroth with my people. God is saying he was mad at us for our sin. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke. And thou sayest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thine heart. Listen to this, folks. Neither didst remember the latter end of it. Therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day: the loss of children, widowhood, and they shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries, and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. The Most High is going to destroy Babylon because it was built on witchcraft, sorcery, and deceit. And these are the same people they're using against us within our communities who practice witchcraft, sorcery, and deceit. 47:10. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. And thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know where it riseth. And mischief shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off. And desolation shall come upon thee, and suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Stand now with your enchantments, with the multitude of your sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. This country was not built on God-fearing men who believed in the Bible. That was a cover. This land was built on occult practices, sacrifices to Satan, and dark ideology from ancient Babylon. This was never a God-fearing country. It was built off occultism. It was built by occultists, Masons, so that they can secretly build their tower to Babylon, using us to do so. Now the Lord is bringing judgment. It says, stand now with thine enchantments and with thy multitude of thy sorceries, when thou hast labored from thy youth. If it be so, thou shalt be able to profit. If so be that thou mayest prevail. Thou art worried of the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, here are the people we have to stay away from, folks. Those that deal with horoscopes and astrology and say that they can read the stars. God is pointing to you, those who use these laws against you. It says right here, let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that will come upon thee. Behold, they shall be as stubble. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before it. Thus shalt they be unto thee with whom thou hast labored. Thy merchants from thy youth, they shall wander every one in his quarter. None shall save thee. Separate yourself from the evildoers, folks, and never support them again. They're coming down. They're coming down. And that's why I wanted to point out the laws of power they've been using to exploit us. And you wonder why our communities are destitute, ran in the ground with no hope. Because those with any knowledge of common sense or intelligence are using their intelligence to exacerbate or to actually compound our destruction and poverty. We have a lot of intelligent men in this earth right now of our people, but we use it to exploit and destroy each other. So I'm beseeching you. I don't care if someone come out with saying, yeah, your boys are suffering. We need a school and all this other crap. And I can help you. I can help your status correction. Oh yeah, I can help you become a free man and all this other garbage. Run and don't give them a dime. Talking about they can help our status correction. Our status correction is the children of Israel in exile and in slavery. You can't fix no status correction without getting right with the Most High God first. What about our status with Him? But I digress. 515-605-9327. Let's go down the line here. We're going to start with 585 area code, then 812 area code. Come back to the Most High. That's the answer. And don't be unequally yoked with those of unbelievers. And cleave to those of like mind who follow the Most High and realize that Satan will use everyone else as an agent to destroy us inwardly. 515 area code. 585. Come on. Shalom, you're live.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you got a few minutes. Talk to us. The 48 Laws of Power has become the con man's Bible. Talk to us.
Yes, all praise to the Most High. One thing I realized too when you were going through the 48 laws was that they have a balance of good and evil, to entice those who are in Christ, those who may seek after righteousness, to look at such a document. And also, they have the evil, the either individuals to use it to exploit the good in those who are trying to seek and do good or do not know, ignorant of our people. And I also realized too, because not too long ago I watched a documentary or a snippet of 50 Cent. And what he used concerning the 48 laws, he used on his predecessor, which was Young Buck. And he did the exact same thing you just listed off in the 48 laws, which was very, very profound. And it was kind of sickening as well, because it's like they used him as a platform to build their success. And as soon as he didn't want to, sign and do any more of the 360 deal, 50 Cent took him off and said, hey, now you got to pay me what you owe, and this is what the consequences is. So they took and repossessed all his stuff, and eventually he had to come back under 50 Cent's reign, and he even used that same sympathy method that you listed in the 48 laws. So I thought that was very profound, and I pray the Most High, nourish our people and guide them back to righteousness in the spirit of Christ.
Thank you.
Shalom and barakatah.
Shalom. Listen, I'm a firm believer, that brothers and sisters, whoever who are going into these agreements within the industry, should know what they're going into before signing it. I can't blame 50 Cent or the record company or anyone else for actually dealing with their side of business according to the agreement. It's upon us to make sure not to idolize a person beyond degree and look at the certain area and say, well, I'm going to sign anything because what I'm getting here is better than what I would have received otherwise. Understand, when you give your talent, when you do your music, whatever you're doing, that's a gift from the Most High God. Okay? If the companies could produce this, they wouldn't come in our neighborhoods and look to sign us. So if the Bibles tell you that the only thing that we have on this earth for our children is the work of our hands. It tells us that in Ecclesiastes. The Most High gave us the work of our hands and our gifts so that we can leave something, an inheritance for our children. So understand, if you got music or whatever the case is, that comes from heaven. That came to you. These ideas came to you. God gave them to you. And it's upon you to protect your ideas and not sign them over to the devil. I can't blame 50 Cent or the record company for doing what they do. It's a deal with the devil. (812) area code. Let's go.
Shalom, Elder. How are you?
I'm blessed by the best, and his name is Ahaya. Talk to me, sister.
I have a comment and a question. First, I wanted to comment about the young brother that just came on, about them mixing truth with lies, which the devil did that also. And it's just they watch us. They've always watched us. That's how they manipulate us. is because they learn, they have the knowledge of the good and the evil, and they watch all of our ways. So they're going to use the good in the manipulation to get us with their evil. It's all it is at the end of the day, it's bad.
Okay. That's a good point.
Okay, and then my question is, hold on one second. I'm sorry, I had written it down. So, with our family, knowing that our family members, a lot of our family members, I know before a lot of people came and got into, was woken up. A lot of our family members had gotten involved into Egyptology, pro-black, Pan-Africanism. Should we still flee from them, or do we continue to try to educate them and to, when we have the open door and a chance to?
Well, no, sister. When I say be careful, when we say separate ourselves and divide ourselves, you have to understand that, you can't be over righteous. It's talking about you cannot support the same spirit that's divisive and destroying us inwardly. You understand? Everyone know if someone say that they're Egyptologist and all this and they deal with Egyptology and African, everyone know that these are a bunch of cons. That's it. That stuff wouldn't fly in Africa or Egypt. I've been over in Africa. I've been in Egypt. It only works on the ignorant who's looking for themselves and looking for a way out. And you got these shysters coming with the con game of Africanism. Now, if you got if you have a family member that's dealing with those things, just don't support their madness. Listen, I don't want to hear anything about your books or who built the pyramids and all that. I don't want to hear about none of that. Okay? We're suffering here right down in America by the hands of our oppressors. How do we get out of this? I don't want to hear nothing about the past history of someone that gave an agent to make toothpaste and went and found some peanuts and he made peanut butter. I don't want to hear none of that crap. Okay? The only thing we can agree with on how to get out of this is to do what? Is to come together under the God who cursed us and begin to follow his law, starting one with another. The only reason I want you to follow this Bible is not that I want you to be in my religion, because this God gives us a code. And if you follow his law, I can now trust you not to commit adultery or steal or kill or exploit me. So I'm not saying join my church and become my religion and all that. No. Instead of the 48 laws, why don't we follow the 10 laws, the 10 commandments? And that's why I'm saying follow it, so that I can trust you not to do what led us here. Thank you, sister.
Right.
That's the whole deal. So if they come with some book with a snake head and a Nefertiti head on it, be like, listen, you can go throw that in the trash. A matter of fact, I'm about to flame up the barbecue, and I need some paper. Remember, people used to come, the New Wabics used to come with the Holy Scriptures by Dr. York, who used to be a fill-in for the singing group, the Blue Magic. I got the Holy Scriptures. I'm sitting there with, he got a Bible this big with pictures of him all through it. Some crap he made up, called himself, and I'm looking at this, I'm like, what's wrong with you, brother? And one brother I seen, and they put pesticides and all
90 seconds.
They put pesticides and all that out there on that grass. I'm sitting there, I'm eating a sandwich, and he's eating grass that was just cut on a lawn out there in front of the office building. Talking about he's trying to get back his green color. Following the New Wabics. I'm like, listen, y'all I don't want to hear that crap. I don't hear about Africa, Egypt, nothing. We're suffering here. How do we get out of this?
60 seconds.
Don't go to their lectures. Don't go to their debates. Don't send them any finances for nothing. Starve them out. What's next? 910 area code.
Shalom, Elder.
Shalom.
When you were going down the Shalom, all praises. When you were going down the list, all I could think about was that me being in the corporate arena, they were doing that to me, and I didn't even know it. We had
10 seconds.
If anybody was in a managerial position or is, those insert services that teach you how to empower yourself and everything, on the one hand, they want you to be the best you they could be, but then on the other hand, they're using those 48 methods and they are controlling you. And I just thank the Most High. This was like 6 years ago. I thank him because just as it says about being fluid and always having a backup plan, well, the Most High has a backup plan for you. So when he pulls you out, he already knows where he wants you to be. So you don't have to go through that list to have a backup plan for yourself. I just thank the Most High for you because as you were going down, my eyes were just opened once more to realize what the Most High actually pulled me out of. I promise you, those methods, I have done in services for 65 employees using those methods that was taught to me by my overheads that I didn't even realize was that list. And praises to the Most High and Shalom.
Great, man. I'm glad you put
forgive
that.
me.
No, go on.
No, I didn't.
I know, sister, the Most High know, though, but I'm glad I'm bringing these forth because a lot of people don't know these are laws of manipulation that Satan uses against our people. And it's usually the intelligent people. If they had the law, they would get our people, they would help get us out of this condition. And that's what's deep. These are not dumb people following these 48 laws. They see the suffering of our people and choose the wrong side. Thank you, sister. All right.
Thank you.
347 area code. You're live. 347.
Shalom, Elder.
Shalom, talk to me. 2 minutes. Talk to me.
Khan, the brother that came, the young brother that came on first, had my point. It's just interesting that book would have noble and pious parts from the Bible to make someone seem as if they had integrity. And when you look at all circular books, they always have to have some Bible-based principles in order for it to be, a just book or make you seem like an upright person. But I just wanted to get 3 precepts on the matter.
Brother, we don't got no time for no 3 precepts. You got 1. You throw one out there.
Well, I got the most important one.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And this is James chapter 3, verse 13, and it says, chapter 14, it says, Salakia. James chapter 3, verse 17, it says, but this wisdom is, Salakia.
Man, listen, I told you, I gave you a chance to get 1. And you want to bring 3 and you can't bring 1? Come on, brother. Come on.
The book of James, chapter 3, verse 15. This wisdom descendeth not from above, but is earthly, sensual, and devilish. So basically, the wisdom from these books are not from the Most High, but they play off sensual and earthly manipulation. And that's basically all I had.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. That's great. That's great. And you know what? And that's the whole thing. It's sensual. When it comes to the Most High, there's no ulterior motive in your interaction with people. Okay? And I'm sorry I rushed you a little bit, but we have a long list of people. And, I would have allowed the 3, but we got a lot of people in queue, brother. Okay?
Khan, Barakatah, Elder Shalom.
And thank you for all your support. Bless you. Okay, 414 area code.
Shalom, Elder.
Shalom, how are you?
I'm good, and you think? I just wanted to say that I just find it hard to believe that so many of our entertainers and celebrities are following down the dark path and taking up different strange religions after they came from a pretty much typical, normal Christian background, like, you know, the majority of African Americans. I just think that maybe something more sinister is going on, like where they're being chipped and now they're able to be controlled on a spiritual level. So that was just my thought about that.
Okay. Well, thank you for your point, sister. But I'm gonna tell you, people are going along with it well before, you know, whether or not they, you know, I don't want to give no excuse for these things. People just want to do. We have to deal with the reality that some people just want to be evil. Some people just choose to exploit others. I don't believe someone have to become a cyborg or be controlled through radiation to become a swindler. Okay, but I understand your point. It's leading to the mark of the beast. I understand your point. Now we're going to take the rest of the calls. We're going to take a 3-minute break and come right back with the rest of the calls. Hold tight.
Are you seeking to strengthen your biblical foundation? Join us in the Hebrew Bible Academy, where we offer 12 weeks of in-depth learning in a structured environment. Receive real-time news from Brother Shapat and amazing lessons by Elder Gocc. Learn ancient Hebrew with Elder Lawyer. With 12 amazing lessons, you're guaranteed to learn more about your true biblical history and authentic Hebrew language than you would in a traditional Christian church for only a one-time payment of $150 or 3 monthly payments of $50. Join us at historytimes.org and sign up today. It's not too late. See you in the academy.
That's right. See you in the academy. Yes, we're coming right back. Let's jump right in. The 48 Laws of Power. Has this become the con man's Bible? And the answer is yes. These same people will, you know, will hold up their nose against those who believe in the Bible and say the Bible's tampered with. I don't want to deal with those laws. But yet they'll follow 48 laws to exploit and destroy their own people. I don't know none of these people with our people following the 48 laws of power, using them to take down white people or other nations that they're complaining about. Let's go. 219 area code. 219 area code.
Shalom, Elder.
Shalom, how are you?
Hello? I'm all right, brother. I got a quick question. I was wondering, what's the key principle that Christ uses when he dealt with his enemies when they came to him with questions? What was the key principle to make them think in order for him to prevent them from doing what they wanted to do? Was that the key principle he was using against all of them?
So you can't isolate one scenario. It depends on the interaction. And also it depends on and it depended on the lesson for that day. Like for instance, Christ went and healed the person and did good. They complained that he did that on they complained he did that on the Sabbath. So he healed them. He healed the man purposely on the Sabbath, knowing that these shysters would focus on complaining opposed to giving glory to God for healing a man. You understand? Mm-hmm. So it depends on the lesson in the instance. Okay? But if you want to know
about the one with the denarius?
But listen, but if you want to understand the overall principles of Christ and how we must interact with all people regardless, read Matthew the 5th chapter. That was his interaction. Okay. And not only that, he did it in the spirit of humility and not being judgmental.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Thank you, brother.
All right. Thanks, Elder.
All right. Shalom. See something here. Okay. 803 area code going down the line. The 48 Laws of Power. Has this become the con man's Bible?
Hello?
Hello, you're live.
Hi, Elder Carl. This is Brother Akeem.
Okay. Hi.
Yeah. Well, I know, I think you're all right, man. The United States is extremely oppressive, man, and you can't be happy here. And you know, I just want you to call me one of these days, but I know you are probably busy, man, and I know you gotta go to the next call, but I just wanted to say this, man. I think I have a lot of spirits on me, man. I think I have the spirit of shame on me, the spirit of shyness, the spirit of nervousness, the spirit of jealousy. And I've been baptized already, but I be praying about it, but I don't know what to do, man. And I just want you to call me one of these days if you have time. But I know you are a busy man, so I ain't gonna even ask that.
Yeah. Well, brother, do me a favor. Give me your name real quick.
My name's Akeem, Akeem. My last name is Missouri, Missouri.
Well, let me tell you, Akeem, I'm going to call you. But, I'm going to call you when we're offline, but I'm going to let you know the Most High, brother, the Most High is working with you, brother. Because guess what? It was years ago, and, you know, I remember you calling in, and I've been saying, I remember saying prayers. You actually say prayers for you and all that. But I'm going to tell you, man, it was one time you would call, and you could hardly say anything. I didn't know whether or not you were shy, whatever the case might be. But, brother, you well-spoken, you're clear. You made it clear what you wanted. And, brother, I'm going to do my best to accommodate, all right? So I'll give you a call tomorrow. Is that okay?
I don't think you would call me tomorrow because you are very busy.
Hey, brother.
I know you got to go, man.
Brother, listen, I'll call you tomorrow. I'll make it in the morning when I get up, okay? I have your number here, and I'm going to make a reminder when I get up because I have to go do some things at the church. On my way to church, I'm going to call you. Okay?
I sure hope you do, but if not, I understand.
Hey, brother, listen, don't say that, all right? I'm going to call you. Exude that confidence. Be sure it's going to happen, okay? All right. I'll speak to you. I'll speak to you tomorrow, King. All right. Shalom.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Hope so. Shalom.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
You know what? I may call him tonight. How about that? All right. 662 area code. Let's do it.
You know what? I'll be calling you tonight. How about that?
Okay. 662. I got to get back with you. 318 area code. Shalom.
Yes. Shalom. Yes, I just want to speak on that 48 Laws of Power. I ran into that book when I was 21, and I was also reading the Bible too. Okay. And I also ran into the Apocrypha back then too. They do use it. They use it on 9 to 5. They definitely use it in the industry. The rappers, they have their own label. They're like the new slave owners to the young generation, and they definitely using it. So, yeah, I'm well familiar with that book, and I'm not a Mason or nothing like that, but I came into that knowledge like real early, right along with the Bible at the age of 21. But I never used it against my people or nothing like that, and I kept the Bible by my side.
Well, thank you, brother. I'm thank you for not using it because it's total manipulation, and I'm glad. I'm just want to put it out there,
Right.
so people know what to look for. Because I'm going to place you on hold because I've been around people like that, who they'll try to get next to you, they'll act like they're down with you, but really they're looking for, believe it or not, an avenue to exploit or destroy you. And the same thing they say to you, they say to everyone else privately. And it's not until you get with everyone else that you realize this person was a con man. And they'll say the same thing to all the women, the same lines, and then they'll have a history of doing things to all these people, and you will find out they only have one line, but it works on what? A certain target that they've always been able to recognize, which is a vulnerable, weak person. Now, I have someone in the chat saying that it's not all that bad. It's not being used against people. And I think this person, whoever's out there saying this, well, you probably didn't know the author of this is Robert Greene. And Robert Greene said himself in the Telegraph after being interviewed that he says, everyone assumes I practice all of my own laws. This is him quoting it, the guy you've learned it from. He says, but I don't. Everyone assumes I practice all of my own laws, but I don't. I think anyone who did would be a horrible, ugly person. He's saying he know the laws being taught, if utilized, makes a wicked, ugly individual. And he's the one who wrote the book. So how can one come and say they're not all that bad when he's telling you, if you follow these principles, you are a wicked and evil person? All right, next. 929 area code. Shalom. Okay, you there? Okay, let me go back. 678 area code. Okay, you
Shalom.
Oh yeah, you were already on, right? Sorry about that.
Sorry.
All right, Shalom. All right.
No, just real quick,
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, just real quick. You guys were dealing with the 48 laws or whatever, and just in Wisdom of Solomon, real quick, chapter 5. Just because right now the 48 laws do work and are applicable in this world today, but just dealing with in the scriptures what we have to look towards, and even those who apply the 48 laws today, to show the shame that will come about in the kingdom once they come to realize their torment and how they were off on this knowledge or wisdom on the left hand side. Chapter 5 verse 1 in Wisdom of Solomon, real quick. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for. That's really deep. Finishing out on verse 3. And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision, and a proverb of reproach. We fools accounted his life madness, and his end be without honor. Leave it at that.
Thank you, brother. Great point. I have one more call to take. Great point. He brought that. And guess what? That scripture is being fulfilled as we speak. One more person here. Hold on. Where it is? The sister told me. 1 second. There she is. Shalom, 347 area code. Sister, have you already been on? Shalom, sister, 347. Hello? Okay. Nah, well, That's it on that. Okay, well, that really concludes our broadcast for this week. Brothers and sisters, understand that Christ says he sent us out as sheep among wolves. Be wise as serpents, harmless as a dove. Okay? Let me tell you, all people claiming that they're down with black doesn't mean they're down for righteousness. Because Christ was a black man and they deny him. And I just want to put that out there, folks. Be careful. Okay? What we have to do as individuals first is get a real relationship with the Most High and follow his law and not look to be confirmed by others on the outside of us. Get right with the Most High first, follow his law, and now you filter all your interactions through that relationship. Because just like these people say in the 48 Laws of Power who follow it, they'll find your weakness, they'll find the area that they can use to exploit. Okay? So now this gives you the upper hand because you have the Most High now. And you will filter them through the laws of God. And if there's someone who's against the Bible, against God, and guess what? If they say they are against God, but yet you see them breaking God's law and walking contrary, it still applies. The majority of people out here, folks, are wolves. And guess what? The wolves was given an handbook, and that handbook name is the 48 Laws of Power. With that, I'm going to say shalom. Stay prayed up and sin not. We'll soon see Zion, and I hope to see a lot of you in the academy this week, this Sunday. The teachings will be what? We're not alone. Teaching the truth about UFOs in the Bible or the so-called aliens amongst us. That will be taught this coming Sunday. Go to historytimes.org to enroll. You don't want to miss this. Or go to historytimes.org to enroll. Or send an email to gatheringas1@aol.com. That's gatheringas1, the number 1, at aol.com. Thank you, lawyer, for your presence. And you always bring serious info when it comes to the Spirit of the Most High in that Bible. And I thank you all, your guests who called in. Next week, we'll be going into the death that comes with what you would call healthcare. Okay? We're going to go into the healthcare system and show how they're getting everyone on these pharmaceuticals to depopulate and kill off our people. And a lot of you may be on some drugs that were prescribed. You don't want to miss the broadcast next Wednesday. With that, Shalom, I'm Elder Ricard Shaw, the Gathering of Christ Church. This concludes our particular broadcast. I'm sorry I came on Thursday instead of Wednesday, but I had to do something yesterday. But we to Zion. I was lost. Let me fall, give me the strength. Place my feet, Lord God, my path, show me the way to Zion. I opened up the book I know I must stand for a new heaven, a new earth. Show me the way to Zion. I'm on my knees, laying my life on the line. I'm begging, please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Place my feet, guide my path. Show me the way to Zion. Yeah. To Zion.
Are you seeking to strengthen your biblical foundation? Join us in the Hebrew Bible Academy, where we offer 12 weeks of in-depth learning in a structured environment. Receive real-time news from Brother Shapat and amazing lessons by Elder Ricard. Learn ancient Hebrew with Elder Lawyer. With 12 amazing lessons, you're guaranteed to learn more about your true biblical history and authentic Hebrew language than you would in a traditional Christian church. For only a one-time payment of $150 or 3 monthly payments of $50. Join us at historytimes.org and sign up today. It's not too late. See you in the Academy.